So excited. Okay, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to our Police Service Board meeting, September 16th, 2025. We will start with our roll call. Only one we have absent, I believe, is Chief Mark Campbell with notice. Approval of the agenda. Do we have a mover and a seconder to approve that? Moved by Member Grantham, seconded by Member Brennan. All those in favor? It's been a while. It took me a second to remember everybody's name. Any declarations of pecuniary interest for the upcoming meeting? Okay, seeing none, move forward. Reading correction or approval of the minutes from the general meeting minutes of July 15th, 2025. Do I have a mover and a seconder for that? Moved by Member Hahn, seconded by Member Grantham. All those in favor? Okay, those are approved. And we'll move on to communications. The Inspector General memo of 2024 annual report. Mover and a seconder to receive that for information. Moved by Member Brennan, seconded by Member Grantham. All those in favor? Do we have anybody have any questions on that memo that somebody may be able to answer? Yeah, Member Hahn.
It was a terrific report, but I was going to ask a question. However, I don't believe Ron LeClaire is on the.
He's not here today.
He's not here today. No.
And obviously Chief Campbell isn't. My question actually, and we can even defer it till the following meeting, I was really interested in the facts and figures of the complaints that they had received. And it was on page 26, I believe. And it had a summary of, they had looked at 342 complaints and 293 had been screened or referred out, and 49 were brought forward and they reviewed those. My question was actually, and I wouldn't mind maybe directing it to Ron LeClaire for the next meeting, is there were 179 of those 342 that were out of the IOP's jurisdiction, legal jurisdiction. And that's over 52%, or it's 52%. That's a very high number of complaints brought forward that were not reviewed or out of their jurisdiction. And I wondered why that amount was so high. And possibly he can advise, relates to these type of incidents. Or is there something that maybe people aren't aware of when they file a complaint that it would not qualify? And so I was just trying to get a little bit more direction on it. And I do know, it does say here, if they're refused, if they're vexatious or in bad faith, they're not looked at. But they brought forward that number, which was 57, but it was the other higher number. So, but it's a terrific report in just even that, I know our group met with the IOP office. I wasn't able to attend. I think it was a spring meeting or something, and I had inquired would they be bringing out a report, which is this report. But I found it interesting that what we heard from the policing sector, and obviously they've heard our comments too about officer wellness and also about the repeat offenders, and that they're directing their attention to those areas. And they gave some examples, and I thought it was a very detailed and good report. So I wanted to bring that forward too.
Absolutely, thank you. I'm not sure if the Deputy Chief comments on the kind of what the IOP goes through to determine whether they're going to investigate a complaint or not.
So in regards to the 179 for legal jurisdiction, I'm going to assume that the complaints that were filed either happened before the IOP initiated or at the start of the Community Safety and Policing Act. So it might have been older complaints under the Police Services Act, which they didn't have jurisdiction.
I see.
I don't know if that's accurate or not, but that,
yes,
to me says it could be that. There is very specific items that they can investigate, and people may just see them as a complaints agency and go to them, not realizing that it's actually like a complaint or something else.
Very good. Okay, thank you.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, if there's no other questions for that, we'll move on to item number 6, the review of monthly police service reports. We'll receive them from information, and we can open up for questions. Do we have a mover and seconder to receive those? Moved by member Brennan, seconded by member Grantham. And all those in favor, received. Carried. Any questions for the deputy chief? We'll start off with member Grantham.
Thank you, and Deputy Chief, I'm gonna make a formal request for a report through this. I don't know. So if you recall a previous meeting, I'd asked about intimate partner violence. And I noticed on both of these, and the reporting I asked for is we could see year over year or monthly to see if it's going up. Because I do note in the reports that one month it was 23 incidents, and another month it was 20. And I have no way of gauging whether that's on increase. I know it's something the community's watching, is intimate partner violence. Just a simple request, if we could see a report that shows the trend. Because to me, 23 incidents, that's almost one a day, right, of a call for you. And then, I think this was July, there were 4 charges. Next month there were 20, I believe, with 6 charges. I don't know if that's normal, it sounds like it is, but if, Deputy Chief, if we could just get a report for the next meeting that shows just those numbers for the past year, that would help me.
Member Grantham, do you want to make that formal motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to ask the Deputy Chief for a report, year to date on intimate partner violence, just strictly the numbers, Deputy Chief.
You have a seconder? Seconded by member Brennan. With any comments? Do you have a comment on that yet?
Just for the purpose of discussion then, if we are going to be taking a look at that, that's a very valuable source of information. I believe also that the Women's Rural Resource Center and maybe CMHA might be a source of other statistics that we could use in context with this report to try and get an overview of intimate partner violence in our community. It's just a suggestion.
No, that's, yeah.
I like that. Okay, so second by member Brennan. All in favor of that motion to request a report? Carried. Okay. Did you have any other questions, member Grantham?
No, that was it.
No. Okay. Member Hahn.
A question for the deputy chief, and it was under the Uniform Crime Reporting Violations Report. And I noticed in August, the traffic hazards under traffic, this is on our page 82, were 11. And that's quite a high amount for July. I was wondering if there was something particular about that month that's not a normal stat for a month. So I wanted to inquire about that.
Without having the data right in front of me, I'm going to guess, sorry, was it July, right?
Yes,
What?
July
Sorry.
under traffic hazard.
Yeah, so my guess would be that there must have been a storm or something and a lot of trees came down. Because we get the calls, we create a traffic hazard, and then, so that's what a traffic hazard would be, something.
Yes, there was a
car parked
windstorm.
on the road or something like that.
Yeah.
So it could very well be that there were a lot of trees down, we got
Yes.
a lot of calls, and then.
Okay.
so,
Okay,
yeah.
that explains that. Thank you. Just as a comment, and this is only for whoever prepares the report, I think the chief, the year-to-date stats, the total traffic, there's a flaw in the stat calculation just for next month. July and August, they don't tally up, so it's just for your reference. No worries about that.
I believe I saw that as well.
Do you have any other questions, Anika?
No.
No, that was it? Okay. Anybody else for any of those reports? Nothing? Perfect. Okay. Carry on to number 7, staff reports. We got the first one, the 2025 Revenue in Kind report. Any questions about that before we accept it for information? Do you have a mover and a seconder to accept that? Moved by member Hahn, second by member Grantham.
It's not very much.
What, who's not gonna bring?
There's an actual.
Oh, perfect, okay, I can see that on this one. Sorry, so, for 7.1, the revenue in kind report, there was a recommendation that the board direct the noted funds to be deposited into the police budget under revenue in kind. Do we have a mover and a seconder to adopt that recommendation? Moved by member Grantham, second by member Hahn, all those in favor? Perfect, turn my microphone back on. 7.2, sorry, yeah, member Hahn, go ahead.
I had a question in regards to, indirect question to 7.1, again for the deputy chief. I wondered, I know these were funds deposited, but what happens if you take into your possession weapons? And where does this property go? And is it immediately brought forward somewhere?
So depending on the type of weapon, what we do, and obviously the background into how we came into possession of it, we do have a lot of people who contact us with firearms that they want to dispose of. So we'll put that in our property vault, and then probably every 4 to 6 months, we have a private company come in and they destroy all the weapons and ammunition. So, yeah, so people turn in ammunition, knives, anything illegal like that that we can't just dispose of in the trash. We have it destroyed that way.
Okay, thank you.
Super, okay. 7.2, police officer appointments under the CSPA. Recommendation that the board appoint Constable R. Holland under section 83 sub 4 of the Community Safety and Policing Act. Any questions about that before we vote it in? Nope. We have a mover and a seconder for that. Moved by member Brennan, second by member Grantham. All those in favor?
And just,
Yes, sir.
and we welcome him, and we welcome this person to the force.
We do welcome. Every new addition is a welcome addition.
Just want to put that on record, they're welcome to the force, it's been acknowledged by police, but we welcome them to the force and we wish them well.
Super, thank you. 7.3, 2026 fees for service. Recommendation that the board receive report POL-2025-23 for information. Do we have any questions about that report before we accept it? Do we have a mover and a seconder for that? Moved by member Hahn, second by member Grantham. All in favor? Carried.
We should probably make a motion to approve the fees. My apologies.
Sure, no problem. Would someone like to make a motion to approve those fees for service for 2026? Member Grantham, seconded by member Brennan. All in favor? Perfect, carried. Okay, then on to 7.4, the 2025 September staffing update. I wonder if the deputy chief just may want to summarize that for everyone, as there's been some changes in the layout.
Okay, so as you can see, we've been very busy. So Constable Chris Sarr, he started with us in, I believe it was 2000 or 2002. He officially retired at the end of August. We had 2 part-time communicators that were hired, resigned. New hires, so Constable Ryan Holland, he started in July with us. He came to us. He was a sergeant with the Western University Campus Police, or Special Constable Service, whatever they go by now. Prior to that, he was employed by the London Police for, I believe it was 16 years. He left policing and opened a couple Tim Hortons down in Ohio, and then after several years of doing that, he came back and then started working for Western. Constable Kyle Dilks, he's been offered employment. He starts with us on September 29th. He is a former OPP constable from Middlesex County. He left there to work for another agency and decided that he wanted to come work for us, so he's been offered employment and starts with us. We have 3 new part-time communicators. The first one has already withdrew her offer of employment, so we're down to 2. So Ashley Weeb and Lindsay Dern started with us yesterday. And then internal promotions, we held our staff sergeant competition. Jason Cartwright has been promoted to the staff sergeant of operations. He'll oversee the uniform side of the house. And then Sergeant Chris Graham has been promoted to staff sergeant as administration. He'll look after the administrative side, including the communication center. So he'll be the supervisor of that section. And then Chris Haskett has been transferred into the sergeant of CID and support services. And then hopefully that'll be it for a while.
Perfect, thank you. Yes, lots of movements, and it's nice to see the new hires are experienced constables, and they're bringing a lot of years of service in to help the younger constables out. So that's a welcome sight. Member Brennan.
And in keeping with my past comments, of course, the board thanks those people when retirements and resignations. We thank them for their past service and wish them all in the future endeavors. And for the new hires, we welcome them to the team and look forward to working with them in future. And as far as internal transfer promotions, we wish people all the best in their new responsibilities. And I just hope that they receive that message from the board.
Absolutely, we will make sure it gets to them. Do we have any other questions about that report or those movements? Do we have a mover and a seconder to receive that for information? Member Grantham, seconded by Member Brennan, all in favor? Sure, good. Okie dokie. Next, moving to reports from departments, having a talk about our police service board secretary discussion. This has been ongoing for a while with our secretary's new role within the municipality. Kind of have a discussion about distribution of workload and the most efficient way to go about. Does the Director Payne want to maybe start us off on this discussion?
Thank you, Chair. So historically, the municipalities covered the responsibilities of Police Services Board Secretary for a number of years. From a historical perspective, I think what led the board to the discussions of existing workload. Typically, Madam Clerk today holds those responsibilities as the Secretary. I think as we grow and evolve in workloads, demanding workloads, I think what kind of precipitated this discussion with the board, what that role looks like, does it maintain with the board, maintain with the municipality? I think you had several discussion points of possible interest to expand it, to reduce it. What does that look like? So I guess I'll just leave it at that for the board to discuss, but happy to give some historical context as well if you need.
Member Grantham, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I think first it's probably not appropriate to have our Director of Legal and Legislative Affairs still serve as Board Secretary, given her workload and what she could be missing down there. So to me, that's a given that we thank the current Secretary for her service, and we maybe look elsewhere, whatever that may be. That would be my starting point. But I think initially we were talking about the Secretary. There was so much workload coming on as a result of the new act. Yep. A lot of things that need to be done. I don't know where we're at, whether or not that has died down. So that's one question. And just a personal bias that I've always had is that I think the Police Service Board needs to do all we can to be arm's length from the municipality, both from procedure and perception with the community, and yeah, just my thing that it's been one of mine is church and state. I've used that, and I don't know fiscally if we can afford that, but that's been one of my preferences, is that we should have our own board secretary, but there A, may not be the finances to do that, and B, there may not be the workload to do that either, right? So I'm just stating what my bias is towards the position.
Member Brennan, go ahead.
Well, I think what we could do, and this gets it on everybody's radar, is that in our budget process this year, I think we should ask the chief to include a proposed budget line for a PSB secretary on the police board payroll, and a justification to go along with that. And then it's in the tube, it's coming towards us, we know it's being worked on, and you know, the sooner the better. Maybe it doesn't have to wait till budget, maybe it can happen before then, but certainly it would be a budget item. And I think that one really good thing that we could do this year before the upcoming elections would be to you know, get that in our budget and make a decision at this level and just decide whether we're doing it or we're not doing it. So I just like to ask for some kind of budget process to start looking at this and take it out of the abstract and make it more concrete.
I think that's a good start. Does anybody else have any comments? Member Hahn? Go ahead.
I know that we were starting at the beginning of the year to charge back time and budget line items for, you know, IT and some other aspects. And I'm just wondering, I can't recall, were we also trying to charge back the admin in this budget? I didn't look at it, so do you know?
Through the chair, Member Hahn, I don't believe that transaction's happening. You're correct. I believe it's charged back for IT services, but I do not believe for administration. No, it's not. So
Yes.
my knowledge.
So, I mean, there's two aspects, and just like the mayor said, will it be independent or will it be a line item to at least acknowledge the efforts? And the person in that current role is terrific. So, you know, you have to balance it a bit with the financials, I believe. So, but I had thought maybe we had a bit of a line item, but it may be wise to, you know, as we're looking at that role too, maybe to ask the secretary what kind of time frame is currently being done for our police services board. I don't believe we're very understanding of, you know, her time frame. And the Community Services Policing Act now has all those new policies that we're trying to update, and I know that's contracted out. We're waiting for that response, but you know, there's been some extra work. But yeah, I'd like to kind of have an understanding of an estimate. And of course that fluctuates depending on, you know, the agenda too.
Super, I think those are good ideas. Does anyone want to put forward a motion then to ask the chief for that budget item? Or is it just going to be an informal request? Member Brennan?
Well, I'll make a motion that the police chief work in concert with the existing secretary for the police to come forward with a report and a suggested path of action in terms of what we're going to do for this position, and whether or not it should be a chargeback on a line item or it should be an individual. But I'd like a report back on it with costing so that we're in a position to make a decision in the budget process and you know, get this thing decided. So I would make that a motion.
Okay, we have a seconder for said motion. Member Grantham, all in favor on that? Perfect, thank you very much. Okie dokie. Moving on to number 9, announcement and inquiries by members. We'll start over to the right with Member Brennan. Any announcements or inquiries?
Just a comment.
Yep.
I really enjoy driving in Canada. Driving in Europe is another matter. If you think there's chaos on our roads, just try driving in downtown Montpellier, and it's pretty wild. But I continue to say that anything that we can do as a police board to get people to stop at stop signs and pay respect to the stop signs on our school buses, if that's our only, and of course speeding, it's really important that we make those very, very high priorities in our policing and the police board level, because a lot of what I saw in Europe, especially France, was just, you know, completely a vision of the future if we don't try to regulate things here. Also, the sight lines there, and it's just a lot of confusion. But I think anything we can do here to continue to try and bring traffic sanity to our community, it should continue to be a very high priority. Thank you.
Perfect. Member Hahn?
I had a question for the deputy chief, and with the new school year, and I do know that there's the return of the resource officers, I believe in both school systems, but I'm not really sure. I wondered if you could give us an update. Have you been approached by the school boards, and is there a plan in place for having the resource officers, and are there limitations?
Yeah, so I have a meeting with one of the superintendents of, I'm not sure exactly what the title of, Safe Schools, I think is his title. That's either next week or the week after. We do not have an official school resource officer that's there full-time, but we currently have an officer that works with the school, so if there's anything that they would like us to do, then they reach out and we'll attend. Once we meet with the superintendent from the schools, get their vision of where we'll go, then we'll set up a formal plan. Again, as we move towards the end of the year with our staffing numbers up, finally, we're going to separate the community service officer and the MCERT roles. So that will give both positions full-time members to focus on those areas. Whereas right now, Constable Lockwood is kind of juggling both hats, and it is a lot. So, but as far as community service goes, she is fantastic.
Thank you.
Super, thank you. Member Graham?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Through you, I'm going to thank all branches of police service, both the OPP and people from Strathroy-Caradoc. Last Wednesday was the police torch run in support of Special Olympics, and I saw a lot of constables out there, so I just want to pass along my thanks to every member of the policing community for participating in the torch run, so thank you.
Thank you. My only comment would be kind of the same thing, a big shout out for all the good work that's been done this summer with construction. There's been some big car accidents, some big fires and that, but police service has performed admirably, so good job on that. That's about it. Do anybody else have any questions, comments? Nothing? Okay. Move on to scheduled meetings. Next meeting Tuesday, October 21st at 10 a.m. Oh, that's the scheduled meeting for 2026, okay. We have a scheduled meeting for 2026. Do we have any questions about those dates before we accept it? Do we have a mover and a seconder to accept that list? Moved by Member Grantham, second by Member Hahn. All in favor? Perfect. And then just need a mover and a seconder to adjourn for the day. Moved by Member Grantham, seconded by Member Brennan. All in favor? Perfect. Thank you, everybody. We will see you next meeting.
Nicely chaired, Chair.
Time.
Nicely chaired.
Not the fastest meeting in the world, but it was close.